Hello, everybody, and welcome to the McLaren press conference. Thank you very much for being here. As a journalist, and for those of you who are Top Gear fans, you may have seen some of my antics on the track, and you will know that I am a huge car fan, particularly a fan of beautiful and fast cars. So it's a great pleasure for me to be here this year. McLaren have had a storming year. You saw, of course, from the video there, the launch last year here in Geneva of the two all-new cars, the 675 long-tail coupe and the P1 GTR, of course. Not content with that, 3 more cars were to follow. It has been an unprecedented year for McLaren. So let's hear more then from their CEO, McLaren Automotive CEO, Mike Fluett. What were your personal highlights?
Well, absolutely. It was our 3rd consecutive year of growth. We delivered more than 1,650 cars to customers. So a very, very exciting year for us. Maybe some slightly sad points too as well, because it was the end of the build of P1, a car that's, I think, already become iconic, a car that demonstrated our technology to the world. And we've now finished building all 375 road cars and all 50 P1 GTRs. But this car, this is actually a customer's car. They returned it to us to have this beautiful visual carbon fiber fitted by McLaren Special Operations. So still a lot of work going on with this model.
And as you say, stunning car. But we talked, I mentioned the 675 Lt Coupe, and we've got a Spider version now too.
We have. We launched the 675 Lt Coupe at Geneva last year. The LT, or long-tail brand, is something that's very important to us, signifying more power, less weight, more advanced driving dynamics. And the car sold out within 2 or 3 months. We then had a lot of customers coming to us and saying, we'd love a Spider version. And we hadn't intended to develop a Spider version. We asked our engineers to look and see if we could retain the LT attributes with the Spider, and because of our advanced carbon fiber construction, we can. And we showed it privately to customers at the end of December, and within 2 weeks, again, all 500 cars were ordered. So I'm sorry, again, this car is not available.
Okay, well, if anyone's disappointed, they could always look at the Sports Series. And this has had a huge impact on McLaren.
It has, and in many ways, this is, for me, one of the stars of 2015. We launched this car in New York to tremendous acclaim, really a game changer for McLaren. It moves us into a different customer segment, really broadens our market very, very considerably. It's also leading to the development of the company and the upscaling of production, and already a very, very strong order bank through the whole of this year.
So you're going to be keeping everyone at Woking busy?
Very, very busy indeed.
And today, then, the Sports Series becomes a family.
Absolutely. Always intended to develop the Sports Series into a family of cars, appealing more broadly than just the very, very focused driving dynamics of the Sports Coupe. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud this morning to present to you the McLaren 570 GT.
I'm here in an impartial capacity, but that is one beautiful car. I am sure you will agree. Let's hear more now from the man who designed it then, the inimitable Frank Steffensen. Frank, your new baby. Talk us through the design. Lovely to see you.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to guide you briefly through the car. It's an exciting design. McLaren's always pushing innovation and love at first sight, obviously, with this car. So we're always influenced by nature, by biomimicry. It's almost a scientific way of approaching design. They say it's subjective, but we're pushing boundaries with our new design, especially, for example, here in the front of the car. We have the bumper, we have the splitter. They both pierce the air. They guide it around the side of the car very efficiently into the side for maximum downforce and coolant efficiency. We have a special door here, very, very special, because it's an amazing piece of design sculpture and engineering, obviously. I think the main thing on here is what we call the floating tendon. It's innovative. It adds a lot of visual drama, of course, but there's a function to it. It guides the air very, very cleanly into the side radiators. Then we have the rear of the car, and what a rear, I'd say. It's a very special part of the car, a very special design. We put a lot of effort into it to make it distinctive. What you can see on the rear is basically we have something that changes from the S to the GT with a very sloping roof line. This changes over from what we have on the flying buttresses. But what it does give us is the panoramic glass roof, which from the inside gives you a very spacious, very luxurious feeling on the interior. And then we have something even more special. We call it the touring deck. And this is, I'll open it for you briefly. It's a sideways opening glass hatch, very easily accessible from inside the cabin and also from the outside of the car. And it provides an additional luggage space sufficient for 2 overnight bags. And I think it's one of the main beautiful characteristics of the new car that we have here. Obviously, for a sports car, you want to have a very visible engine area. So we've maintained that. Even though the deck is here, we have a very visible engine area to look at the beautiful engine. And I think you'll all agree with me, it's as beautiful as a grand piano's opening lid. So all in all, we're very happy with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. And as you say, you've talked about the practicalities from the interior. What about the driving experience? Let's bring Mike back, because Mike is obviously one lucky man. He gets to test drive all of the cars. So, Mike, how does the experience compare then for the 570S to the GT?
Yeah, absolutely. When we were developing the cars, as I mentioned, our customers were looking for a broader spread of dynamics. So to complement the very focused driving dynamics of the 570S Coupe, the GT is, in a sense, more about the journey, more about luxury, more about practicality. And we've done a lot of work to engineer very, very different characteristics into the two cars.
So the DNA is still there? I mean,
absolutely. It's pure McLaren DNA, but with a luxury touch.
And what about what you've done under the skin then?
Well, significant amount of engineering to produce a car with quite different characters. So we've taken 15% out of the spring rates at the front, 10% out of the spring rates at the back, 2% reduction in the ratio for the steering rack. So sort of calmed the car down so that it really flatters the driver to enjoy that experience of a longer journey.
Products, you got sorted. What about the broader business plan now?
Well, a lot going on in the business. We've been in business now as a company for 6 years, but we've taken a lot of time to look out into the future, and we've redefined our business plan for the coming 6 years. It takes us out to 2022. We've called it Track 22 because it defines the track we're on out into the future, and it's a track that gives us a very profitable and sustainable business.
And I know you're going to be talking throughout the day today more about Track 22, but just give us those financial headlines.
Well, I guess the key headline is that through that 6 years, we will double the size of the company. We were profitable in the first year of trading. We've been profitable for the last 3 years. We'll continue to grow on that, and we'll double the size of the business.
And investment-wise, you're going to be self-funding?
Absolutely. The business is profitable, will remain so, and the investment in the new business plan is completely self-funded.
And new products?
Lots of new products. We're going to be investing £1 billion during that 6 years just in new product development. New product is what a business like ours is all about. We've got a lot of new cars coming. That £1 billion equates to 15 new models over the next 6 years.
Gosh, okay. So you are going to be busy, Frank, obviously, keeping you out of mischief.
But it's always love at first sight.
The sports series is going to continue to grow as well, isn't it? This is going to become one extended family. So tell us more about that.
Absolutely, the family grows. Well, it'll be no surprise to anybody to know that there's a Spider version of the car coming along in 2017. But we're also developing the rest of the product offering. LT has been such an outstanding success that we're developing as a sub-brand, and there'll be future LT models across the range of McLaren.
And how do you see engines developing?
Powertrains are critical and very, very complex part of our car. The M838, the engine that underpins all of the cars that you see here, is an absolutely phenomenal engine. It's been International Engine of the Year 3 years running, so a lot of development left in that engine. But we are in the middle of developing a new powertrain architecture, and during that 6 years we'll launch another engine family that will run alongside the existing V8.
Now, there's been a lot of talk at the show already about hybridization, electrification. You and I have debated long and hard, because although I love my fast cars, I also would quite like to be the green to be queen, as we would say. You would accept that this is the future. Electrification, hybridization that's the path now, is it?
Absolutely, and I don't see them as incompatible. We've demonstrated what we can do with hybrid technology in the P1, producing one of the most phenomenal driver's cars that there's ever been. And hybrids will become part of our life. We're developing hybrids for further out in the product range, and I predicted by the time we get to 2022, more than 50% of our cars will be hybrid. It'll be an integral part of the development of the powertrain. But let's go out even further. We will be driving electric cars one day, without a doubt, and developing an electric car just for transportation isn't the challenge. The challenge for us is developing an electric car that is as stunning, engaging, exciting to drive as an LT and a P1. And to that end, we've started to develop a concept car, a prototype, to experiment with that and understand how we can produce that same engagement with an EV platform. And
you're confident about that, because that's the key, isn't it? For a company like McLaren, the driving experience is everything, the technology is everything. You
Absolutely.
Can combine the two to still, it's not going to be a dull drive if it's electric, basically.
Absolutely not. It can't be. That's not what McLarens are. I'm fully confident in our engineering team. They have delivered these amazing products here by using the latest technology. They'll use the latest powertrain technology to produce the best sports cars in the world.
Well, Mike, Frank, thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, McLaren Automotive.
Thank you.